When the sun sets, it is time for the top stories from the day. Good evening and welcome to Sunset News. As usual, we bring you the latest pertinent stories from Namibian borders. We also take a look at the community stories, economic news, sports, weather, and so much more. I am your host, Glenora Shipura. Getting into the news tonight, Rundu Police Station Commander Hermin Muranda told Network Media Hub that the holding cells at the station, built to accommodate 100 inmates, are currently overcrowded with more than 200 detainees. She said some of the troublemakers have since been transferred to other holding cells in the region. Muranda explained that before the transfers, detainees who had been kept in the cells for an extended period repeatedly broke the bars, causing malicious damage to state property even after repairs. She added that detainees often end up staying too long in holding cells because of delays in the court system, with many denied bail and their cases repeatedly postponed. This update follows NMH's July report on prolonged detentions that led to chaos at the Rundu police station. Have a look.
Of problematic inmates, which was attended to by the region, and they were removed from the cells because they were a group of guys, hardcore guys that were actually really giving challenges to other inmates in the cells. And when we discovered that, we actually consulted with the management of the region, and then the region put it into place to remove them to other regions and other stations. So they were separated into different stations, and immediately the problem was solved.
Okay, just one.
The problematic inmates were actually guys that were breaking the doors. You know, Rundu Police Station is a very big and a very old station. So it became a problem that we actually had to fix the doors more randomly than previously. But they were more physical with breaking the doors, but cases of malicious damage against for state properties was opened against these inmates. Whenever we suspect of such things, we do thorough investigation. But during the period of this year, only one case was opened against a specific police officer, and not other cases. We heard about those information also in the media.
Environment Minister Indeleni Daniel handed over human wildlife conflict management and alternative income related infrastructure and equipment valued at over 15 million Namibian dollars. The support benefits 5 North Central Conservancies: Ukwa Luwadi, Ukulukandi Ruakana, Sheya Shushona Lipumbu ya Chilongo, and King Nehale. The project is funded by the German Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development through KfW Development Bank. During the recent handover over the weekend to the 5 Northern Conservancies as part of efforts to reduce human-wildlife conflict and promote alternative livelihoods, Daniel said the investment forms part of the poverty-oriented support to community conservation in Namibia project, which implements the revised national policy on human-wildlife conflict management from 2018 to 2027. Now, this support includes upgraded water points, new boreholes, predator-proof kraals, solar lights for households, uniforms, and training for game guards, as well as community-based income-generating projects. Daniel said the interventions are aimed at reducing frequent conflicts with lions, elephants, hyenas, and other wildlife that threaten human lives, livestock, crops, and infrastructure in the North Central regions. Among the key initiatives, 12 water points were upgraded and a new borehole drilled to ease competition for water between people and elephants. Now, predator-proof kraals were constructed in 3 conservancies, 7 in Ipumbu ya Chilongo, 3 in Sheya Shushona, and 2 in King Nahale. In addition, 200 households received solar lights for kraals, which have already proven effective in deterring predators at night. Now, 17 game guards were also equipped with uniforms, tools, and training in first aid and wildlife monitoring to strengthen community conservation efforts. 5 students, Job Shilumbu, Martin Shikongo, Ndahafa Matthews, Aubrey Thomas, and Samuel Ngihi Ngangwa from Niche Training Academy in Walvis Bay is heading to Bremen, Germany for a month for a green hydrogen exchange program. A ceremony was hosted to send off the 5 students earlier today before their departure on Wednesday. Let's have a look.
Our 5 trainees that are going to Germany are trainees that were that applied for the grant with SASCAL this last year, the year before last year. So, and they were able to complete their level 4 metal fabrication and boiler making. They proceeded on that same grant to start off with their level 1 and 2 for double-coated welding. The start there, everything has not been easy. We have been pushing through some serious challenges, but they've made it this far. We are also the very first, SASCAL has been sponsoring, this is the second cohort of students that they've been sponsoring, that they've been giving grants to within the green hydrogen sector. And Niche is the only TVET currently who managed in all these, is it 5 years that they are now currently granting, managed to get a cohort out to a TVET in Germany. Their requirements were that we have to make, as a TVET has to make our own connections with the TVET in Germany, and we are currently the only TVET in Namibia who have managed to do that. And so we are absolutely excited for the fact that we have brilliant young minds, young artisans going out, not just with the Niche flag, but also carrying the Namibian flag high. We really want to congratulate you. Congratulations.
Parliamentary Standing Committee on Poverty Eradication, Labour and Industrial Relations Chairperson Justin Johannes has raised concerns over the Kavango East Regional Council's handling of poverty. Speaking on Friday in Rundu, Johannes said the council's failure to provide timely answers gives the impression of operating in isolation rather than collaborating with government offices and agencies. She added that according to Namibia Statistics Agency's poverty in Kavango East stands at 70%, placing it among the country's poorest regions, highlighting the urgent need for transparency and coordinated action. Here she is.
East and West. Now, government is giving money to say, go and, empower my people so that they are coming out from poverty. You have applications submitted to you in May. These people are not sitting on the procurement. It's you, the regional council. Application of people out there waiting so that they can assist government to address issues of poverty in this region. If we are wrong, we just say we are wrong, I'm going to take care of, because you are sitting in the shoes of the CRO. Because even if the CRO was here, I could say the same thing. Because we are failing government. We are failing our own people. So, can we get away from this topic? Yes. Yes.
No. I'm just surprised to hear that the directorate representations or ministerial directorate are not represented in the procurement. How did it come if they do not sit, or is it because of their level? Are they directors or they are sitting? Most people are they sitting there? Because every
That concludes our top stories. On the other side of the break, we will be getting into our community talk. The City of Windhoek has pledged to ensure that the entire mixed informal settlement will be electrified before the end of the year, with CEO Moses Madyayi making the commitment this morning during the inauguration of a new community sanitation hub, a modern facility equipped with toilets, urinals and a water point designed to provide residents with safe hygiene services. Addressing residents, Madyayi said the project was proof of what could be achieved through collective efforts and promised that electrification and proclamation of mixed settlements were now well advanced. Before the end of this year, this area is going to be electrified. If it does not happen, come to me and I'll go to Mr. Akanjo because I am the one making this announcement, he said, drawing loud applause. The CEO commended contractors for completing the sanitation hub in record time and described the facility as an example of the kind of efficiency the city wants replicated in all community projects. He added that the city would continue to complement the government's vision by delivering practical solutions in partnership with stakeholders. The sanitation hub was constructed at a cost of $750,000 through a partnership between the City of Windhoek and Vivo Energy Namibia, with funds raised via the 2024 Windhoek Vivo Energy Marathon. The facility comprises 8 toilets, 1 water point and 2 urinals, providing long-awaited sanitation services to hundreds of residents in the mix. Windhoek Mayor Deshiafela Laranja said the project was about more than infrastructure. Together, we have transformed promises into a tangible facility that restores dignity, ensures health, and improves the quality of life for our people. Access to proper sanitation is a basic human right, she noted. Laranja urged residents to take ownership of the hub, stressing the importance of responsible use and regular maintenance. That concludes our community talk. We will now be taking a look at our economic news. But first, don't forget that ShopRite is turning 35. And for their 35th anniversary, ShopRite is giving away $3,500 in ShopRite vouchers to 35 lucky winners. That's 7 winners every week for the whole month of September. You can join by simply scanning the QR code on the screen and following the instructions. We will be right back after this. Starting us off in our economic news, in a landmark achievement for urban land reform, 173 residents of Outapi's informal settlements received landholder titles under the Flexible Land Tenure Act, marking the first such allocation in the town. The titles were handed over on Friday in collaboration between the Land Reform Ministry, the Urban and Rural Development Ministry, and the Outapi Town Council. According to the Land Reform Minister Inge Dhamwani, beneficiaries from OO Namakulu, Petrus, Kalipi, Tolongeni, and Tutungeni settlements are now recognized as legal owners of their urban Dhamwani said that a total of 9.4 hectares of land was demarcated into 201 plots, of which 173 were registered for residential use. Notably, 115 titles were allocated to women, reflecting progress in gender equity in land ownership. Dhamwani stated that the government had invested nearly $1 million in feasibility studies, surveys, and registration to ensure the project's success. The Flexible Land Tenure Act, passed in 2012, is designed to provide affordable and secure land rights to low-income communities. It forms part of the government's commitment to formalize informal settlements as resolved at the Second National Land Conference and to deliver 10,000 plots annually. Otapi now joins Oshakati and Hobabes as reference towns for the implementation of the scheme, with several other local authorities, including Windhoek, Oshiwarongo, and Lüderitz, expected to follow suit. Dhamwani's speech was delivered on her behalf by the ministry's executive director, Ndia Kupi Ngihitwa Mata. In our next economic news story, as Namibian livestock farmers look forward for the upcoming rainy season, experts are warning that climate change continues to alter rainfall patterns, making every season unpredictable. Agribank's technical advisor for livestock and rangeland management said that Erastus Ngaruka each year now differs in terms of when the rains begin, how much falls, and how evenly it is distributed, posing both opportunities and risk for farmers across the country. Ngaruka said that the previous rainy season provided much needed relief after years of drought, improving grazing capacity in many areas. However, specialists caution that the grazing was far from optimal in quality. Much of the forage yield was underutilized due to poor grazing value, while drought years had already reduced the cattle numbers drastically, explained a technical advisor on livestock and rangeland management. This has left significant quantities of dry grass as fuel load, increasing the risk of field fires. According to Ngaruka, farmers are being urged to adopt sustainable rangeland management practices. This include reseeding with perennial grasses, thinning unwanted bush, stabilizing soils to prevent erosion, and using controlled grazing systems that protect valuable forage. He said that such practices not only improve grazing conditions but also help safeguard resources until the next season. Ngaruka said that flooding is another seasonal risk, particularly in northern Namibia. Farmers are encouraged to strengthen farm infrastructure, prepare shelter for livestock, and adopt rainwater harvesting methods for household and agricultural use. According to him, moist conditions during the rainy season also favor pests and diseases. Next up, financial indicators. The Namibian dollar trades against the British pound at 23.23, against the euro at 20.29, against the US dollar at 17.33. 2 Namibian dollars and 43 cents gets you one Chinese yuan. On the commodities market, Brent crude oil went down while gold, copper, and platinum went up. Brent crude oil trading at 1.93%, going for $67 and 87 cents per barrel. Getting into our international news, an international court of arbitration has temporarily blocked the sale of uranium stockpiles over a dispute between the Niger government and French mining group Orano. The court in Washington, D.C. on Friday ordered Niamey to halt the sale of the uranium which Orano claims has been stolen from it. The court also ordered the release of Orano's representative, who has been held in custody since May. In December last year, Niger's military junta took control of Orano's operation as part of a wider push to regulate the mining of raw materials by foreign entities. Orano's license was suspended months later, and the company suspended production. Since coming to power in 2023, Niger's military rulers, who Paris refuses to recognize, have expelled French troops and forged closer ties with Russia and Turkey. Orano claims that more than 1,000 tons of uranium concentrate worth more than $200 million haven't been exported. If Niamey violates Friday's court ruling, Orano would be entitled to seize assets or royalties owed to Niger abroad. The court may not issue its final decision for months or even years. That concludes our international news. We now dive over to the weather predictions. The capital city can expect a minimum of 15 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 31 degrees Celsius with sunny weather conditions, while Katima can expect partly cloudy conditions with a minimum of 20 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 39 degrees Celsius. Lüderitz can expect a minimum of 14 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 33 degrees Celsius with sunny weather conditions, while Swakopmund can expect partly cloudy conditions with a minimum of 14 and a maximum of 15 degrees Celsius.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, and starting off with rugby news first. It is the Rugby World Cup for women that was completed over the weekend. England, the champions, they beat Canada in the final by 33 points to 13. The final was played at Twickenham in London. That's the third World Cup that England has won. Also rugby news, rugby championship that was played, that is men's rugby. It is South Africa that beat Argentina quite convincingly, 67 points to 30. That was in Durban. They're now top of the lot with 15 league points and followed on 14 league points by the All Blacks. They beat Australia. That was in Auckland. They beat them by 33 points to 24. The last games will be played this coming weekend. It will be South Africa that play against Argentina. That is in London, and that is in Perth. It is Australia that will host the All Blacks. Continuing international sports news with golf news, it was the men's Ryder Cup, that is team competition. Europe that played against America at Bethpage Black in the USA. It is Europe that won the Ryder Cup for 2025. They beat America by 15 points to 13. It was a lot closer in the end than people thought. The first 2 days Europe dominated, but then it was America that came back in the singles. Europe could only win one singles game out of 12 and a few halves. That meant that they got enough points, 15 points to 13, and it is Europe that retain the Ryder Cup. Continuing international sports news with English Premier League soccer, and the gap at the top of the English Premier League was closed significantly. It was Liverpool that led by 5 points. They lost to Crystal Palace over the weekend, 2-1, and it is Arsenal that got closer because they won against Newcastle away by 2-1, and it is 15 points now for Liverpool and 13 points for Arsenal on top of the English Premier League log. Other results from the weekend was Manchester City that won 5-1. That was at home to Burnley, and then it was Tottenham Hotspur that drew 1-1. That was at home to Wolverhampton, and it was Brentford. They were too strong against Manchester United. Brentford winning at home by 3-1. And to close off today's international sports news, it is cricket news. It is the Asian Cup cricket competition, main T20, and it was India that beat Pakistan in a close final by 5 wickets, and Pakistan 146 they scored in their 20 overs or bowled out in the last over, and then India 150 for the loss of 5 wickets, and that is for India to win their 9th Asian Cup title. So that is international sports news for today. Hope you have a great sport day. We talk international sport again tomorrow. Goodbye.
That was the sports news with Ari Hohart, courtesy of Sports Rep. And on that note, we have come to the end of the broadcast. Thank you for joining Sunset News and catching up on the latest news from the day with us. From me, Glenn Rashipura, until next time.